After my siblings mocked me for being their cash cow, I stopped funding their lifestyle. Now they're facing eviction, and I'm thriving without their drama. You know how they say blood is thicker than water? Well, turns out my bank account was thicker than both for my family. For years, I've been the responsible one, the go-to ATM for my mom, my sister Lauren, and my brother Jake. I'm talking rent payments, emergency car repairs, electric bills that were somehow always about to be shut off. Meanwhile, I kept putting my own dreams on the back burner, my master's degree application sitting half-finished on my laptop, and that trip to Italy I've been saving for since forever. I never really minded, you know? That's what family's for, right? At least that's what I kept telling myself while crushing it at my marketing job, living in a decent but nothing fancy apartment, driving my 5-year-old Honda while Lauren was cruising around in a brand new Jeep Cherokee she absolutely needed for her part-time barista gig. Everything changed last month during our family's Memorial Day cookout. I couldn't make it because I was covering a weekend shift. Gotta get that overtime to cover Lauren's rent increase after all. Around 9 p.m., my phone buzzed. Jake had pocket-dialed me, no big deal. I was about to hang up when I heard my name. Emily is such a sucker, Lauren's voice, slightly slurred from what was probably her 4th White Claw. I just had to mention how stressed I was about rent, and boom, another $800 in my account. My mom's cackle came through next. Our little walking bank, remember when she canceled her vacation to cover my credit card bill? God, she's so easy to manipulate, Lauren continued. Just gotta throw in some tears and tell her she's the only one I can count on. Works every time. Jake's voice. Guys, maybe we shouldn't— Oh, please. Mom cut him off. She's too busy working herself to death to have a life anyway. Might as well put those dollars to good use. More laughter. Then Jake must have realized his phone was on because there was a shuffle and the call ended. A text came through seconds later. Sorry, butt dial. I sat there in my apartment, the one with the leaky faucet I kept putting off fixing because Lauren needed new tires, and felt something inside me break. And then rebuild, stronger, and with a whole lot more backbone. Instead of confronting them, I decided to play it smart. They thought I was just a walking ATM? Fine. Let's see how an ATM works when you punch in the wrong pin too many times. The next morning, I opened a new bank account at a different bank. I redirected my direct deposit, leaving just enough in the old account to cover my actual bills. Then I waited. It took exactly 4 days. Hey, sweetie, Mom's text read. Internet bill is due tomorrow. Can you send $90? You're the best. I stared at that heart emoji for a good minute. How many of those had I fallen for? Sorry, can't right now. I texted back. Simple. No explanation. 3 dots appeared immediately. Disappeared, reappeared. Is everything okay? This is important. I'm a little tight this month, I replied. Not a lie. I was tight. Tight with my money for once. The dam broke. Within an hour, both Lauren and Jake were texting. Mom must have put out an all-hands alert. Mom says you're being weird about the internet bill, Lauren wrote. What's your problem? Jake was slightly more subtle. Hey, everything cool? Mom seems upset. I turned my phone face down and poured myself a glass of the good wine I'd been saving for a special occasion. This felt special enough. The texts kept coming all weekend. I responded with vague, sorry busy messages while binge-watching Netflix, shows I'd been putting off, and scrolling through European vacation packages. My heart was racing the whole time, but it felt exhilarating. By Monday, the tone changed. Emily, I'm serious. Lauren could get evicted if you don't help with rent this month. Is that what you want? Mom's guilt trip came right on schedule. Typed and deleted at least 5 responses before settling on, Lauren makes enough to cover her own rent if she budgets properly. Send. My phone rang immediately. Mom, decline. Lauren, decline. Jake, decline. Voicemails piled up. I listened to them while sipping my morning coffee, feeling strangely calm. I can't believe you're doing this to the family. Mom, you've changed, and not in a good way. Jake, I need that money by tomorrow or I'm screwed. Lauren shouting. Update. So I've been ignoring their calls for days now, and you wouldn't believe how freeing it feels. My brother just left a voicemail saying Mom is telling everyone I've abandoned the family in their time of need. Lauren's apparently facing eviction notices, and somehow it's all my fault. The crazy thing is, I don't feel guilty anymore. I feel angry. Should I send them my spreadsheet showing exactly how much money they've taken from me over the years? I'm worried it might burn the last bridge, but maybe that bridge needs burning. On Thursday, I was just getting home from work when I heard someone pounding on my door. I peeked through the peephole, Lauren looking like a thundercloud in human form. I opened the door but kept the chain on. Can I help you? What the heck is wrong with you? She snapped, trying to peer past me into the apartment. I've been calling and texting for days. I've been busy, I said, feeling surprisingly steady. Well, I'm about to be busy being homeless, she shot back. My landlord gave me a 5-day notice this morning. I need $200 by Monday. I raised an eyebrow. What happened to your paycheck? Lauren rolled her eyes like I'd asked the stupidest question ever. I had other expenses. And why are you being such a jerk about this? You always help with rent. And what does that make me? I asked quietly. What are you talking about? A walking bank? A sucker who's easy to manipulate? Ring any bells from the Memorial Day barbecue? Her face went through about 5 different expressions before settling on defensive anger. Jake shouldn't have played that for you. We were just joking around. You know how we get when we're drinking. Drunk words, sober thoughts, I said. So you're punishing everyone over one stupid conversation? Real mature, Emily. That hit a nerve. Mature? You want to talk about mature? I've been paying your rent for 3 years. I covered mom's credit card debt twice. I paid for Jake's car repairs just last month. I've put my entire life on hold while you all take and take and take. Lauren's eyes narrowed. We're family. That's what family does. No, Lauren, that's what I do. None of you have ever helped me with a single thing. When was the last time any of you even asked how I was doing? She scoffed. Oh my God, do you need a medal for being an adult? Some of us are still trying to figure our lives out. You're 27, Lauren. Figure faster. Her mouth dropped open. I'd never talked to her like this before. To be honest, I'd never talked to anyone like this before. So that's it? You're just cutting us off? She demanded. I'm not an endless resource. I'm a person with my own dreams and needs. You selfish bit. I closed the door before she could finish. Her fist pounded on it once, twice. Then I heard her stomping away, already on her phone, no doubt calling in reinforcements. Instead of feeling awful, I felt lighter. I grabbed my laptop and sat down at my kitchen table. For the next 2 hours, I compiled a spreadsheet of every penny I'd due, given my family over the past 5 years. The total made me physically nauseous, $64,371. That was a down payment on a house. That was my master's degree. That was multiple trips to Europe. I composed an email, attached the spreadsheet, and sent it to Mom, Lauren, and Jake with one line in the body. The Bank of Emily is permanently closed. Then I went into our family group chat and typed my final message. I've supported all of you financially for years while you mocked me behind my back. I've put my dreams on hold while you pursued yours on my dime. I've been treated like an ATM instead of a daughter and sister. That ends today. I love you all, but I love myself more. I'll be blocking your numbers for a while. Please respect my decision. Before anyone could respond, I blocked all 3 of them and poured myself another glass of wine. My hands were shaking, but not from guilt, from relief. The next day, my aunt called. Mom had obviously deployed the flying monkeys. Your mother is very upset, she started. I'm sure she is, I replied. Her cash flow just got cut off? Emily, that's a terrible thing to say, is it? Did she tell you about the Memorial Day conversation where they all laughed about manipulating me for money? Silence. Then, I'm sure they didn't mean I've given them over $60,000 in the past 5 years, Aunt Carol. Did you know that? Another silence. No, I didn't. None of them have thanked me once. None of them have ever offered to pay me back. They just kept taking because I kept giving. They're still your family, she said, but her voice had lost its conviction, and I'm still their family. But being family doesn't mean being a doormat. After we hung up, I blocked her too, just temporarily. I needed space to breathe, to remember who I was outside of everyone's expectations. Update. It's been 2 weeks since I cut off contact, and my phone is blissfully quiet these days. I've unblocked Aunt Carol. Turns out she had no idea how much I was supporting everyone. She even apologized for pressuring me. Meanwhile, I submitted my application for that master's program I've been putting off for years, and I'm feeling hopeful about it. Mom somehow got a new number and left a voicemail saying we need to talk about my behavior. My behavior? Seriously? I'm torn between hearing her out and maintaining this peaceful new boundary. Has anyone dealt with toxic family members who just don't get it? How do you stay strong? A month after the great financial emancipation, as I'd started calling it in my head. I was sitting at a coffee shop working on my master's application when my phone lit up with an unfamiliar number. Emily speaking, I answered, distracted by the essay I was writing. It's Jake. I almost hung up, but something in his voice stopped me. New phone? Yeah, figured you blocked the old one. He paused. You blocked all of us, right? I did. He sighed. Can't say I blame you. That was unexpected. Really? Look, I've been thinking a lot about everything. That spreadsheet you sent, man, I had no idea it was that much money. I said nothing, waiting. Lauren got evicted yesterday. He continued. She's crashing on Mom's couch, and they're both still saying you abandoned the family. But I keep thinking about all those times you helped me out. No questions asked, and I never even properly thanked you. No, you didn't, I agreed, feeling a complicated mix of emotions. I'm sorry, Em. Not just for taking your money, but for not standing up for you that day at the barbecue. And all the other times they talked about you like that. My throat tightened. There were other times. He was quiet for a moment. Yeah, more than I want to admit. I took a deep breath. Thank you for being honest. For what it's worth, I got a second job. I'm paying my own bills now. And I told Mom and Lauren they need to apologize to you. Really apologize, not just come begging for more cash. How'd that go over? I asked, already knowing the answer. Jake laughed without humor. About as well as you'd expect. Mom said you'll come around eventually because family always does. Lauren called you some names I don't want to repeat. Charming. Yeah, well, I just wanted you to know that at least one of us got the message. And I'm sorry it took losing you to make me grow up. After hanging up, I sat there staring at my laptop screen. Part of me wanted to reach out, to try rebuilding some kind of relationship with my brother, but another part, the stronger, newer part, knew I needed more time. Real change doesn't happen overnight, and I wasn't ready to let any of them back into my life until I was certain they respected my boundaries. That weekend, I did something I'd been putting off for years. I booked a trip to Italy, solo, 2 weeks in September, starting in Rome and working my way up to Venice. My hand actually trembled as I hit confirm payment, partly from excitement, partly from the lifetime habit of thinking about my money as everyone else's emergency fund. But I did it. And then I cried. Big, messy, joyful tears. For the first time in my adult life, I was putting myself first. It felt terrifying and wonderful and long overdue. 3 months after cutting off my family financially, I was accepted into the master's program. I'd start classes in January right after my 30th birthday. Lauren tried to reach me through a mutual friend in July. The message was predictably self-serving. Tell Emily I miss her and I'm sorry if she misunderstood some things I said. Also, ask if she can help me with a security deposit for a new place, just this one last time. I didn't bother responding. Mom sent a card for my birthday with a stiff note about how families should stick together through thick and thin, and how she was praying I'd come back to my senses soon. No acknowledgement of how they'd treated me, no real apology. I sent it back with one line added, "When you're ready to respect me as a person and not a piggy bank, we can talk." Jake and I text occasionally now. He's still figuring himself out, but at least he's doing it on his own dime. He told me Lauren had to downsize to a studio apartment and get a second job. Mom had to actually create a budget for the first time in decades. It wasn't easy for any of them, but they were surviving, just like millions of other adults who don't have a family member to bleed dry. As for me, I'm thriving. My apartment finally has furniture I actually chose, not just handed-down pieces, and IKEA specials. I started taking an Italian language class to prepare for my trip. I'm dating again, having realized how much of my social life I'd sacrificed to work overtime for my family's expenses. But the biggest change isn't in my bank account. It's in how I feel about myself. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not even sad. I'm just free. Free to make my own choices. Free to pursue my own dreams. Free to say no without guilt. And yes, without calculation. Sometimes I still get that twinge when my phone rings, that Pavlovian response of, "Who needs money now?" But it fades a little more each day, replaced by the genuine excitement of creating a life that's truly mine. Update. I just got back from my solo trip to Italy, and let me tell you, it was everything. I ate pasta in Rome, saw David in Florence, and rode a gondola in Venice. Yep, totally touristy and worth every penny. The most surreal moment was sitting at this tiny cafe overlooking the Grand Canal, realizing that I never could have had this experience if I hadn't set those boundaries. Something even wilder happened when I got home, a voicemail from Mom, saying she's been seeing a therapist who's helping her understand patterns of dependency. Not getting my hopes up, but maybe, just maybe, real change is possible. Either way, I'm good. For the first time in forever, I'm not just good, I'm great. Thanks for all your support through this journey, Reddit. You helped me stay strong when I needed it most. Last week, I was grabbing coffee before class. Yep, officially a grad student now, when I ran into Lauren. It was bound to happen eventually in a city this size. There was an awkward moment where we both froze, coffee cups in hand, strangers in the familiar packaging of family. "You look good," she said finally, and I could tell it cost her something to admit it. "Thanks. So do you." It wasn't just politeness. She did look good. More grounded somehow, less like she was playing dress-up in an adult's life. I heard, "You went to Italy," she continued, "and started your master's program." I nodded. I did. Both were amazing decisions. She smiled, a small, genuine one, not the manipulative grin I'd grown to distrust. "I'm glad. I'm working full-time at the marketing firm now, junior position, but it's a start." "That's great, Lauren." We stood there, the weight of unspoken words creating a chasm neither of us knew how to cross. "I was wrong," she said, suddenly. "What I said about you, how I treated you, all of it. I was wrong and I'm sorry." I studied her face, looking for signs of the old Lauren, the one always working an angle, but all I saw was exhaustion and something that looked remarkably like growth. "Thank you for saying that," I replied carefully. "I don't expect you to." "Forgive me," she rushed on, "or to ever help me again. I needed you to know that I see it now. What I did, who I was." She took a deep breath. "Who I'm trying not to be anymore." I felt something shift inside me, not quite forgiveness, but maybe its distant cousin. That's good to hear, Lauren. Maybe someday we could get coffee," she suggested, then quickly added, "Dutch treat, obviously." I almost laughed at that. "Maybe someday," I agreed. As she turned to leave, she paused. "I'm proud of you, Em, for standing up for yourself, even though it was against us, especially because it was against us." I watched her walk away, feeling strangely peaceful. I didn't know if we'd ever be close again, if Mom would ever truly understand what she'd done, if our family would ever heal the wounds we'd inflicted on each other. But I did know this. I'd never again sacrifice my own oxygen to keep someone else breathing. I'd never again mistake enabling for love. I'd never again believe that my worth was tied to what I could give rather than who I could be. The bank was closed, but maybe, just maybe, something healthier could open in its place. Not Today, probably not tomorrow, but someday, on my own terms, and that was enough.